Chapter 5. The Ghost Ship. The sea was calm that night. Too calm for comfort. The lighthouse stood like a black silhouette against the horizon, its beacon still unlit. Emma sat on the rocky shore below, the cold wind tangling her hair. In her hand, the brass key glimmered faintly in the moonlight. She turned it over and over, tracing the letters of her own name carved into the metal. The waves murmured softly, almost like whispers. Every few seconds, she thought she heard Henry's voice carried in the wind. "Find me, before the tide returns." Those were his last words, or perhaps just an echo in her mind. Behind her, the lighthouse groaned. Its old stones shifted as if breathing, remembering what it had seen. The door to the hidden room was sealed again, but she could still feel the hum vibrating beneath her feet. Whatever had taken Henry, it was still awake. She stood. The tide was drawing back, revealing dark, slippery rocks that stretched far into the sea. In the distance, where the water met the fog, she saw something, a shape too large to be a shadow. A ship. It loomed from the mist, black and silent, its sails torn but unmoving in the wind. No lanterns, no crew, just a hulking form drifting toward the shore. Emma's breath caught. The brass key pulsed warm in her palm. The same humming sound from the hidden room echoed faintly across the waves. She felt drawn to it, as if invisible strings pulled at her bones. The world around her dimmed. Only the ship remained clear, glowing faintly beneath the moonlight. When she stepped onto the exposed rocks, the wind died. Even the waves seemed to hold their breath. Each step echoed unnaturally, like walking on hollow ground. The fog closed behind her, swallowing the lighthouse from sight. Then, from the mist, a whisper. "Emma?" Her heart froze. The voice was Henry's, soft, close, trembling. "Henry?" she called. No answer, only the groan of ropes and wood shifting somewhere ahead. The ship waited at the edge of the rocks, its hull blackened with time and salt. Rusted chains hung from its sides, clinking softly in the faint wind. A tattered flag drooped from the mast, a pale, ghostly color that might once have been white. The name carved into the bow was barely legible, but she could make out the last letters. Mara. The Sea Mara. Her father had once told stories of it, a merchant ship that vanished a century ago during a storm near these cliffs. No one ever found its wreck. Until now. Emma climbed the rope ladder hanging from the ship's side. Her boots slipped on the wet rungs, and for a moment, she thought she felt a hand beneath hers, guiding her upward. When she reached the deck, the world felt still. The air was thick and cold, yet smelled faintly of smoke and salt. "Henry?" she whispered again. The deck stretched silent before her. Sails hung in tatters like shrouds, and ropes swayed gently though there was no wind. The lanterns lining the deck flickered to life, one by one, casting a pale blue light. She froze. Someone, or something, had lit them. At the far end of the deck stood a figure. Tall, still, facing the sea. "Henry," she breathed. The figure turned slowly. His face was half in shadow, half bathed in the eerie blue glow. It was Henry. Her heart leapt and shattered at once. He looked alive, almost. But his eyes held the same strange light as the lanterns. "Emma," he said softly. His voice was calm, but hollow, like it came from somewhere deep underwater. "I thought you were gone," she whispered. "I tried to find you." "You did," he said. "I'm here, but not as I was." She stepped closer, tears stinging her eyes. "What happened to you?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he turned toward the sea again. "The ship called to me. I heard it from the other side of the wall. When I touched the light, I crossed over." "Crossed over?" she repeated. Henry nodded slowly. "There's something between this world and the next, Emma. The sea is the bridge." She shivered. The brass key in her hand grew cold again. "What does this key open?" she asked. Henry's eyes flickered. "It opens the way back, or forward. But it will cost you." Before she could ask more, A loud crack split the air. The ship trembled beneath their feet. The fog around them began to glow faintly, swirling faster, thicker. Voices rose from the mist, low, mournful cries that echoed across the deck. "Henry, what is that?" "They're the crew," he said quietly. "They never left." Shapes began to form in the fog, shadowy outlines of men and women. Faces pale, eyes empty. Each one turned toward Emma, their movements slow and deliberate. Their mouths moved in unison. "Return the light, return what was taken." Henry stepped between her and the figures. "She's not the one who took it," he said. But the ghosts didn't stop. Their forms shimmered closer, their voices growing sharper. "The keeper stole the light, it belongs to the sea." Emma realized suddenly, the light they spoke of wasn't just a lantern flame. It was something deeper, ancient, a power hidden beneath the lighthouse. And the key she held was part of it. The ship rocked violently. Waves crashed against its hull, though the sea below was still. Henry grabbed her arm. "Emma, listen to me. You have to go back to the lighthouse. The key must be returned before dawn." "What about you?" she cried. "I can't leave until it's done. But I'll be with you. Always." Before she could protest, the deck split open behind him. A column of cold blue light shot up from the crack, swallowing Henry in its glow. He looked at her one last time. "Find the light, Emma, bring it home." Then he was gone. The ship began to sink, not into the sea, but into the mist itself, as though dissolving into air. Emma ran toward the side, clutching the key. The rope ladder was gone. The hull beneath her feet was fading. She leapt. For a moment, there was only weightlessness. Then, cold, salt water closed around her, dragging her down. She struggled upward, the key clutched tight in her hand. When she broke the surface, the ship was gone. Only the lighthouse stood in the distance, its beacon now burning with an unnatural blue flame. Emma swam toward shore, waves crashing around her. The key in her hand pulsed like a heartbeat. Each flash of light echoed Henry's voice in her mind. "Bring it home." When she reached the rocks, the tide had turned. The path back to the lighthouse was half submerged. But she climbed, step by step, soaked, shivering, her lantern long lost to the sea. By the time she reached the lighthouse door, the sky had begun to pale. The blue flame in the beacon above flickered restlessly, casting strange shadows across the sea. She unlocked the door with trembling hands. The key fit perfectly, though she had never seen a lock there before. The door opened to darkness. A whisper rose from below, low and deep, like the sea breathing through the stones. "Welcome back, keeper." Emma froze. That voice wasn't Henry's. It was older, colder. And it was coming from inside the lighthouse. She stepped across the threshold. The door slammed shut behind her. The blue light above dimmed. And somewhere deep below, the hum began again. Only this time, it said her name.